Imagine the following scenario. You are faced with a unique opportunity, one of those moments that could change your life forever. Someone presents you with a revolutionary machine, something that seems straight out of a science fiction movie. It's called the Experience Machine, and it's designed to provide you with a perfect life. No failures, no sadness, no anguish. Everything you've ever desired will be within your reach. Absolute success, unlimited money, perfect relationships, constant happiness. The proposal is simple. You enter the machine, electrodes are connected to your brain, and from that moment on, everything you experience will be exactly as you've always wanted. No disappointments, no struggles, no challenges. Just an endless flow of pleasure and fulfillment. Sounds like a dream, right? But here comes a detail that might make you hesitate. Once you enter, there's no way out. You will never see the real world again. You will never talk to the people you know. You will never face difficulties. You will never have to deal with the unexpected. And more, nothing you experience will be real. You might believe you are building something grand, that you are achieving your greatest dreams, that you are loved and admired. But in reality, everything will be just a simulation. You will be living within a perfectly designed illusion to keep you satisfied. Now, stop and think. Would you accept to enter? This is a question posed by philosopher Robert Nozick in his famous thought experiment. If pleasure were the only thing that mattered, no one should have doubts. After all, why not choose an existence where everything is perfect and pleasant? But curiously, most people would refuse the offer. But why? Because deep down, we want more than just pleasure. We want our lives to have meaning. We want our achievements to be real. We want to feel that we have grown, evolved, faced challenges, and overcome obstacles. And here lies the paradox. If you wouldn't accept to live inside the Experience Machine, why do you spend so much time escaping reality? Think about it. You already live inside small pleasure machines every day. The phone you grab without thinking when you feel bored. The social media that keeps you distracted. The series that make you forget your problems. The addictions that provide temporary relief but leave you feeling emptier afterward. How many times have you chosen immediate pleasure over truth? How many times have you avoided a confrontation because it was easier to ignore the problem? How many times have you postponed a difficult decision because you prefer to distract yourself? The truth is harsh, but it needs to be said. Most people are already trapped inside a reduced version of the Experience Machine. They don't realize it because the wires and electrodes aren't connected to their brains, but to their hands, their eyes, their daily choices. So now I ask you, what do you really want? If what you seek is a comfortable life, free of difficulties, risks, and failures, then perhaps the Experience Machine is the best option for you. But if you feel there is something greater, if you believe that life needs to be more than just pleasure and distractions, then maybe it's time to disconnect the invisible wires that keep you trapped and face reality head-on. Because, in the end, the real question isn't whether you would accept to enter the machine. The real question is, are you already inside it and don't even realize it? Now, let's see what the Stoics would say about this. The idea of an Experience Machine, where everything is pleasurable, perfect, and free of suffering, sounds tempting at first glance. But the Stoics taught us something that most people avoid facing. A life without difficulties is not a fulfilling life. From the Stoic perspective, pleasure was never the ultimate goal. On the contrary, the Stoics believe that true growth arises precisely from discomfort, struggle, and overcoming challenges. What strengthens us is not the absence of pain, but how we deal with it. Now, imagine telling Epictetus about the Experience Machine. He would listen patiently and then ask you, do you want to live as a slave or as a free man? And before you could respond, he would explain, if you seek only pleasure, then you are already chained, not by visible chains, but by the invisible ones, those that make you flee from reality, avoid pain, and seek only comfort. The true free man does not fear difficulty. He faces it, learns from it, and becomes stronger. Here is the first Stoic lesson. Pleasure can be a prison. It may seem contradictory, but the relentless pursuit of pleasure can be what traps you the most. If you choose to enter the experience machine, you are not choosing freedom, but servitude. You will become a slave to sensations, trapped in a bubble where everything seems perfect, but nothing is real. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "A happy life depends not on external things, but on how we react to them." The problem with living in pursuit of pleasure is that you become dependent on it. If something causes you discomfort, you run away. If something requires effort, you avoid it. You never grow because you never face challenges. Now look at your life. How many times have you run away from discomfort, seeking refuge in distractions? The Stoics would say that pain is not an enemy. In fact, it is a teacher. And this brings us to the second great lesson. Difficulty is the path. If there's a Stoic motto that dismantles the entire illusion of the experience machine, it is this: the obstacle is the way. This phrase from Seneca sums it all up. If something is difficult, if you feel resistance, if life is challenging you, that's exactly where you should be. The Stoics believe that life is not about avoiding difficulties, but about becoming strong enough to face them. When you eliminate suffering, you also eliminate growth. Think of an athlete training for a marathon. If they avoid effort, if they never feel muscle pain, if they never challenge themselves, they will never cross the finish line. Now look at your life. What challenges have you been avoiding? What pains are you trying to numb with distractions? How many times have you chosen the easier path instead of the right one? Because in the end, you might enter the experience machine and live an illusion without difficulties. But at what cost? At the cost of your evolution, of your strength, of your freedom. Epictetus said, "Do not wish for things to happen as you want. Wish for them to happen as they do, and then you will have peace." What he meant by this, that accepting reality with all its difficulties is far more powerful than trying to escape it. And this leads us to the third and final lesson. 3. Purpose is in action, not in pleasure. The Stoics did not seek pleasure. They sought virtue. For them, what gave meaning to life was not feeling good all the time, but acting correctly. Seneca wrote, "Life is not short. It is we who waste it." And how do we waste it? Running away from pain, seeking shortcuts, sinking into empty pleasures. If you accept the experience machine, what are you really choosing? The illusion of a perfect life. But in reality, you are trading action for passivity, growth for stagnation, reality for fantasy. And the Stoics would say, that is not living. Because living is not just feeling. Living is doing. And now we come to the main point. If you want an easy life without pain, without hardship, then go ahead, get into the machine. But if you want a real life, a life where you become stronger, wiser, more capable, then reject the illusion and face reality. For as Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. And I ask you, are your thoughts freeing you or imprisoning you? And here's where the real conflict begins. Two completely different ways of looking at the same problem. On one side, the modern mindset, driven by emotions, seeking instant gratification, and blaming the world for every setback. On the other, the Stoic perspective, brutally honest, self-accountable, and immune to the chaos of external circumstances. Think about it. The modern approach tells you that your feelings are everything, that your struggles are unique, and that every failure you experience is a result of something or someone holding you back. It convinces you that the reason you keep falling into the same traps is because life is unfair, people are unreliable, and systems are rigged against you. So what do? You complain. You dwell. You wait for change to come from somewhere outside yourself. But it never does. Now, contrast that with the Stoic mindset. The Stoics would tell you that your feelings, while valid, do not define reality, that your struggles are not special. They are simply part of the human condition, and that every failure you experience is, at its core, the direct result of the choices you make. No sugarcoating, no excuses, just raw, unfiltered truth. The problem is never just the world around you. It's how you navigate it. The obstacles don't disappear, but your approach to them changes. Instead of waiting for things to improve, you adapt. Instead of blaming others, you take responsibility. Instead of drowning in self-pity, you become stronger. The modern mindset seeks comfort. Stoicism seeks resilience. One tells you to indulge your emotions. The other tells you to master them. One encourages you to see yourself as a victim. The other reminds you that you are the only one truly responsible for your fate. And let's be honest, deep down, you already know which of these paths leads to real strength. You've seen what happens when you surrender to excuses, when you allow emotions to dictate your actions, when you keep repeating the same mistakes expecting a different outcome. It never ends well, does it? You get stuck. You get frustrated. You wonder why things never seem to improve. But when you take the Stoic approach, everything shifts. You stop looking for external validation. You stop expecting life to be easy. You stop wasting energy on things beyond your control and start focusing on what truly matters. Your actions, your discipline, your mindset. The obstacles don't disappear, but you become the kind of person who can overcome them. So now the question is, which mindset are you going to embrace? Are you going to keep running in circles, letting your emotions control your life, making the same mistakes over and over? Or are you going to take full ownership, face the hard truths, and finally break the cycle? Because at the end of the day, one of these mindsets will define your future. And the choice, it's entirely yours. So here we are, the moment where you have to decide which path you'll take. Will you keep walking blindfolded, bumping into the same walls, blaming everything but yourself? Or will you finally take control, face reality, and do what needs to be done? Because let's be real, most people will take the easy route. They'll keep making excuses, waiting for life to magically get better, convincing themselves that they're just unlucky or that things will change eventually. But you and I both know that's not how it works. Time doesn't fix things. Complaining doesn't fix things. Avoiding the truth only makes the problem worse. The Stoics understood this. They knew that life is indifferent to your feelings, that the universe doesn't owe you anything, and that real change only happens when you stop running from responsibility. The world isn't here to cater to you. It won't adjust itself to make your life easier. And if you keep waiting for that to happen, you'll be waiting forever. So what's it going to be? Will you let your emotions dictate your life, repeating the same patterns until you wake up one day filled with regret? Or will you have the courage to break the cycle, to take ownership of your actions, and to finally start moving forward? It won't be easy. It never is. Growth demands discomfort. Change requires sacrifice. But the alternative? Staying exactly where you are. Trapped, stagnant, watching your potential slip through your fingers while you tell yourself the same tired excuses. So, I'll ask you again, how many times are you going to trip over the same obstacle before you realize the problem isn't the obstacle? It's how you're choosing to walk? It's time to decide. Are you going to keep following the same script, blaming the world for your failures, living in a cycle of frustration and self-pity? Or are you going to take full responsibility, sharpen your mind, and forge yourself into someone who can actually handle life's challenges? Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing. You. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. If you want change, you have to create it. If you want strength, you have to build it. If you want wisdom, you have to seek it. And if this message resonates with you, if something inside you knows it's time to step up, then don't just sit there. Take action. Start applying this today. And while you're at it, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Because trust me, the journey doesn't end here. There's more to learn, more to grow, and more to uncover. The question is, are you ready? If this message hit you like a wake-up call, don't ignore it. Growth starts when you stop making excuses and start taking action. And if you're serious about changing your mindset, this is just the beginning. Subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications, because every video will challenge the way you think. Here, we don't sugarcoat reality. We break it down so you can rebuild yourself stronger. Don't be like everyone else who watches and forgets. Be the one who listens, applies, and evolves. Your future self will thank you. So what are you waiting for?